Just a quick flash of Indurain riding for the yellow jersey. Indurain is a man we've got to watch out for today, because Indurain 30 seconds down on Johan Mazzeo in the general classification, is the expert when it comes to time trialling. He's won 26 time trials in major tours in his time. He's been virtually unbeatable, though he did find in the Tour of Italy that things were not to his liking, and young Berzin beat him 3 times then. But he was a bit out racing power at that time, and now he's come into this race determined to stamp his authority on the Tour de France in this time trial now from Perigueux to Bergerac, 64 kilometres, and Indurain it is now with a lot to do. Bourman already setting the fastest time at 9 kilometres. It'll be interesting to get a time check on these two riders.
Mikel, this morning I spoke to his team manager and he told me he's riding also 55-12. He's riding a very small 24-inch wheel on the front with low profile aluminium rim and a 28-inch disc wheel on the back with very, very thin tubulars. Normally a lot of riders now riding the tires, but Mikel has stayed with the tubulars because he felt that he got a much better feeling from the road by riding the tubulars. But I was thinking that Lance Armstrong has gone off ahead of Mikel. He's gone off 2 minutes ahead of Indurain, whereas in normal circumstances every rider goes off in 2-minute intervals except for the last 10 riders on general classification. Normally they go off 3 minutes ahead of each other, whereas this year exceptionally everybody has gone off with 2-minute intervals. So 2 minutes for Indurain starting off behind Armstrong is not very much, but this could help Lance Armstrong to do a good time.
Well, we'll wait to see if he gets up to the man in front of him, but he'll certainly be getting the time checks on Armstrong, and the time checks likewise on Rominger, that's ahead of him on the road, and Bourman. From now on in, there's not a lot of time trials, except of course for Sean Yates. Sean, who actually won a time trial stage in the Tour de France in Basqual some years ago. Sean will be off third from last. He's yet to go. Abdou Jafros will be next to go, then Andrew Van Zella, then Sean Yates. And there the time, in fact, Bourman is 18 seconds slower than Ugramov. That particular time check there, that is at 15.1, and that is a surprise as far as Bourman's concerned. He's fastest at 9 kilometres, but he seems to settle down on Ugramov, the man who was second in the Tour of Italy last year, beating Bourman at the 15.1 kilometre mark. That's just under 10 miles by some 18 seconds.
That's a lot of time in such a short distance. I would have thought that Chris would have had a more stable run in, but maybe he had mechanical trouble, or maybe he hasn't set at a certain pace. That we must wait and see.
Well, certainly he seems to have dropped a lot suddenly after that very fast start at the first time check of 6.5 kilometres. Let me tell you that still at 29.5 kilometres, Chioccioli, Moreau and Bernard were the first 3 through there, and we've just got some more times coming. Pulnikov has finished in 1 hour 23 minutes and 18 seconds. Tony Rominger, his time at 6.5 was 9:31. 9:31 then for Rominger at the 6.5 kilometre time check, and that puts him in the lead over Bourman by 8 seconds. 8 seconds faster. Ugramov was only 13 seconds behind Rominger, so in fact somehow Chris has lost a lot of time. When they went through that particular point then, Chris was 5 seconds faster than Ugramov at 6.5 kilometres, and suddenly in just the next 9 kilometres he's lost maybe more than 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think something must have happened to him, but unfortunately we've no way of knowing if something has happened or if anything has happened at all until he gets to the finish. So what we can presume is that he did have mechanical trouble or something like that, and if you remember in the team time trial the other day, he also had a lot of bad luck. So hopefully between the 10-kilometre board and the last kilometre board, hopefully he can pull back the time he's lost if he has the legs, because it could possibly be that he hasn't got the legs for us.
Bourman then having some reason to slow down suddenly. We'll soon know the next time check as to whether it's mechanical or whether it was physical. The next time check will come up at 29.8 kilometres after that one at 15, so we've got to wait another 14 kilometres before we get another time check for Bourman to see if he can pull back that deficit on Ugramov and what is looking like a deficit on Rominger that's fastest we've had so far at 6.5 kilometres.
A few minutes ago we got we got a time check. I got spoke to actually to Girotto and Perini, and they were telling me that compared to the riders who went off early on this morning, the wind gotten very, very strong, and that they were saying they did a 1:28, I think they did, and the best time so far was a 1:21. They were saying for anybody to go 8 minutes faster, it would be a hell of a ride. But the difference this morning, this morning's heat and the heat of now is so incredible. It does actually work on your system. So maybe that's why Chris Bourman is also losing a bit of time. Maybe it's the heat that's getting to him.
And the heat's getting to us in the commentary point too, although we're sitting in a sort of covered device right alongside the finish area here. Stephen and I at the extreme end of maybe about 30-odd commentary points for different nationalities, and the sun's beating through. They're all
on our side.
And it's coming. We all seem to be sitting nearest the sun, and on this end they've just got a big plastic sheet up to stop the spectators getting over us.
It's like sitting in a greenhouse there.
It is. It's making matters worse. I think there's no wind coming through it at all, and we're slowly wilting here, but not wilting as much as the riders out there. They're having the sun beating down on them, and here we see young Deckert coming in. Serrada's time was the last one you just saw up on the screen there. Hodge, I think, will be unhappy with his time. He was way back in 70th place because Stephen Hodge was second in the Grand Prix Nationals back into last year, just 1 minute and 2 seconds behind Armand de las Cuevas, but he didn't have a happy ride either. And now this is the confirmation, all at 6.5 kilometres, and there de las Cuevas has gone even faster at 9:24. This man de las Cuevas is the one who had his eyes set on winning today, and already he's thrown the gauntlet down in no uncertain terms. 9:24. Phenomenal ride by de las Cuevas to take him through 15 seconds faster. That's in just under 4 miles. Just under 4 miles the deficit, and a tremendously fast ride then by de las Cuevas, the fastest at the 6.5 kilometre time checkpoint.
De las Cuevas had said he was going to be really riding well. It's incredible the difference between himself last year and himself this year. Last year was so easy going and disinterested in the racing, whereas this year he calculates everything and he seems to have gotten to know himself much better. And when he says now I'm going to be there, he's there. The other day he told me he's going to be there. For the moment he's there, but don't get carried away because there's a long way to go. And the heat that's there today can pay its toll in the end. You must try and progress gently right through from start to finish without actually going very strong too hard at any one point.
Well, Caspuris had been putting up some fast times all the way through and was being the early leader. As we look at Panazan coming in now to finish just ahead of Herman Friesen without the H. That's a nice way to spell his name. He's now taken ninth spot of him. Gianni Parazin in 1:24.27 to take over. Well, just checking now at 6.5 kilometres, Armstrong's gone through in 9:55. Armstrong at 9:55, so that is a bit of a disappointment. He's some 6 seconds slower than Zilla, and as far as Rominger is concerned, and de las Cuevas, in fact he's way behind. He's nearly 30 seconds down, 31 seconds down on de las Cuevas at that particular point, so not a happy start for him.
No, not really, but Lance knows he's not a time trial specialist, and he knows he's not going for the overall, so Lance is possibly riding at his own speed today and hoping that maybe he can go for a stage win tomorrow or the next day before he gets to the real thick mountains, because there's no point in going flat out today and getting 31st in the stage, and then tomorrow it's going to pain for because you've got legs after going so hard today. So he'll be trying to ride today. It's not a rest day, but just riding to do a good ride and hoping that tomorrow or the next day he can maybe try and pull off a stage.
Gerard Rui coming in. We're going back out on the course as Rui comes down in 1:27.35 to the line. The crowd here applauding a very strong and hard competitor, but as they say, he's not going to trouble the judges today. Indurain at 6.5 kilometres has now taken the lead. He's beaten de las Cuevas, beaten Rominger, beaten Bourman. His time 9 minutes and 7 seconds. Phenomenal.
Incredible. That's why the Spanish judges are going mad upstairs. I thought maybe they had something we didn't know here, but 9 minutes 7 seconds that you can see in the screen, which is 10 seconds faster than de las Cuevas and 17 seconds faster than Tommy Rominger. That's incredible.
What a fearsome start Indurain has made. This is his message to the world that he is back in no uncertain terms, but it's a very early start yet, and we've got 64 kilometres in all to cover. And Miguel Indurain riding now to try and get what I think will be his 27th victory in a time trial, smarting for the fact that he was beaten in the Tour of Italy 3 times in time trials, and of course he got beaten in the prologue time trial at Lille as well by Chris Bourman. So he's going to show now that he's the master, and he's back and he's heading down toward the Pyrenees. The Basques will be swarming up over the Spanish border in the next couple of days to see their star man here. Miguel Indurain, wearing number 1, last year's champion, has already thrown down the gauntlet by taking the fastest time at the 6.5 part of the course. But it's very difficult for these riders not to be slipstreaming on a twisting course like that. But the man is all on his own now, rocketed past Lance Armstrong like he was glued to the road. But he's certainly setting the fast times, as you can see on your screen there. He's caught Armstrong for 2 minutes, so he's now just behind him, some 5 seconds or so down the road. Rominger in second spot, De Las Cuevas in third. Still this powerful man ploughing along here, Miguel Indurain, the specialist when it comes to time trial. He's got enormous lungs. His capacity of his lungs is about more than anybody else. He's got a great heart pumping around blood as well. All the measurements that the scientists take show that he's got a body which is just ideally suited for riding a bike at great speed. As here, Álvaro Mejía, who finished 4th in the Tour de France last year, coming in to finish in quite a respectable ride. He's going to look to climb up the general classification when we get into the mountains. He's going to be fairly well down today because the Colombians aren't the world's greatest time trialists, and so now he comes in to finish. And there's the confirmation of the time of Caspudis, so we just flashed him up on the screen, and then we have Mejía.
Just looking here that Thierry Mari was not in any of the early results, and all of a sudden Thierry Mari, after going through 54 kilometers, is now leading. So Thierry Mari here.
Yeah.
So maybe like it's a bit strange, but I was saying earlier on that you need an awful lot of power and an awful lot of judgment in this time trial. So it's not because riders are going down or behind in after 15 or 30 kilometers. You must keep going and keep the morale up, because in the final a lot of riders go dead.
Well, Marie then at 54 kilometres, 1 hour 8 minutes ahead of Bjorn Riis, has come through toward the back end too. We didn't see him at all.
No.
Rubimov was being taken the fastest time. He's been pushed down to 3rd spot now, so the hard men are coming through, and Caspudis is going to find it. Yes, no, Riis has taken over. Bjorn Riis, we flashed that up on the screen back home. You saw that one. He's taken over from Caspudis then. 1 hour 21:31. The lead's gone to Bjorn Riis. We came very quickly from one rider to another, and now it's changed as Bjorn Riis, the strongman, comes through to set the fastest time. 1:21:31 against Caspudis, has now gone back by 28 seconds.
But Bjorn Riis is not a newcomer to the Tour de France either. Last year he won a stage and finished 5th overall. He rode 2 very good time trials last year, also in the Tour de France. So he's not a newcomer by no means to the Tour de France. Here we see Indurain is incredible. Like, it's amazing where the cameras can really pick the man and make him look really, really strong. Some fantastic camera shots here now from our cameramen.
And unfortunately we haven't seen Sean Yates back down there. Let's see if we got any time check of Yates. Yates at the 29.8 kilometres, 39.52. 39.52 for Yates at the 28.9 kilometres. He's 3:47 back according to Paul Sherwin sitting alongside me here. So the Motorola rider not perhaps having the fastest time, but nevertheless he'll still be, I should think, up there in the top group, because he's a superb time trial and a strongman too, and the strongmen have been coming through towards the back end. The time for Mejía at the arrival was 1 hour 25 minutes and 54 seconds. Again, we're going to see him up in the mountains when it comes to the climbing. Mejía will enjoy that and be looking to challenge, I suspect, for the King of the Mountains jersey for his Motorola team. Sean Yates, 39.52 at 29.8 kilometres. The fastest time we've had at 29.8 so far on our screens was 36 minutes and 5 seconds for Miguel Indurain.
As our cameraman picks up Miguel Indurain here, there's no sign of him flying at all. It's the same machine, right like a machine all the time. It's incredible man to watch. As you see, Tony Rominger is not as stylish as Miguel on the screen. He moves a little bit. He has a bit of a jerk on his left leg, but Miguel is like a fluid machine going round and round all the time.
Well, Rominger, and here we do at long last see the yellow jersey of Yo Museo coming through this time check here. He's going to bury himself to try and stay in contention. I don't think he's going to snap it back tomorrow. We've got a reasonably undulating stage tomorrow with only some fourth category climbs on it, which will suit the sprinters and sprinter Romans, whilst Indurain probably will recover and wait for the big climb.
Just looking at Museo here, he doesn't look to really powering along. He's more than likely, we know he's going to lose the yellow jersey today, so as Museo is a sprinter, he's going to try and keep as much energy as he can for the next three stages, which are three stages which he could actually win another stage again, because Museo is he's gone a little slower now, I feel, at the moment in the very, very fast sprints, but he is very, very good in the finishes where you have a couple of ups and downs before the finish.
Well, an improvement here, by the way. I can tell you at 54 kilometres, Thierry Marie went through fastest in 1 hour, 8 minutes and 37. But Chris Bourman has now moved into second place as the battle going on back here. We're going to have just a quick look at that then on Bourman. 23 seconds behind Thierry Marie, so Bourman's coming good as well. Bourman's gone faster than Bjorn Riis, and so has Thierry Marie, and Bjorn Riis at the moment is the fastest at the finish, 1:21:31. So just 23 seconds between Marie and Bourman. Marie's come back good towards the end. Bourman's coming back good towards the end. Riis came back good towards the end. So the strong men at the back end of this race are really making our leaderboard here change quite a bit. Thierry Marie then coming in here. Is he going to take the lead? It looks like it. The Beaver's time was 1:21:32. The French in the crowd here absolutely elated at the prospect of a Frenchman taking the lead, because Kasputis, the Lithuanian, had taken the lead for so long till the Danish rider Riis took it, and now it's going to the French rider Thierry Marie. 1:20:43 takes the lead at the finish here amongst an enthusiastic crowd in Bergerac.
Thierry Marie is an incredible rider. He's normally always on for a very long low break, so he's used to this kind of an effort, but he's if he can hold on to the lead here in this time spot today, it'll be a great performance for him, because we saw him going across the line there and he seemed to be even fresh as Miguel it's not Miguel, is it?
No, it's
Mauri.
Milky Mauri
after being caught by Rominger, starting to look like a peloton now at the moment.
So yeah, we're quite beginning to bunch up in here, aren't they? And there we are. That's the sort of position after the 29 kilometres. We'd be on general classification. There's quite a few changes coming. Malcolm Mauri here, who started 2 minutes behind Thomas Davey. And what's going to happen now? Well, they're all congregating here, aren't they?
Well, they're all trying to hold on to Rominger, trying to get a good time, but this won't go on for much longer. The commissaire must come along and say, listen lads, you've been caught, your day is up. But this is the problem when you have all the good men going off at 2-minute intervals. I don't understand why they've changed the system for this year, because normally the last 10 riders all go off at 3-minute intervals, and the first riders going off 2-minute intervals. But today, everybody went off at 2-minute intervals.
Well, that's Rolf Aldag that Malcolm Mauri has got. Aldag and Malcolm, in fact, I think that's Luc Leblanc up in front. Our screen's a bit indistinct, so I'm sorry if we're giving you some odd, strange things here, but I've got a suspicion, in fact, that Malcolm Mauri might have been, he's caught up with the rider in front of him, Rolf Aldag, and and then I'm not quite sure that was Luc Leblanc in front or Tony Rominger. It's a bit difficult for us to see, with a whole bunching going on back there. And when you think these riders start at 2-minute intervals, that gives you some idea of the speed at which some of them are travelling at the moment.
Well, it does very much at Luc Leblanc, because Luc Leblanc had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 minutes ahead of Rominger. So I doubt if it's that very much if it can be Luc Leblanc, but I just had said the screen, but that was the worst commentary spot of all. We're on the end of the table here with sun shining in. We're putting papers up against the screen, trying to block the sun out, and it's very, very difficult to see the colours and the numbers and everything else, all the shadows we have on our screen.
But at least we're on site watching the world's greatest bike race. This, the Tour of France. Thierry Marie then taking the lead at the finish line in Bergerac. Peter Ugremov, Thierry Marie the victor, Ugrimov coming in now. Is he going to get it? No, he's not. 1:21.20. Ugrimov has already been setting some very fast times. Second last year in the Tour of Italy when he surprised Indurain with some spirited riding in the mountains and shook him. In fact, I remember Indurain on one of the finishes just falling off his bike and lying against the barriers. He was exhausted by the challenge from Pietro Ugrimov, the Latvian rider, just coming in to beat the Lithuanian Kasputis, his rider, by a little bit. Just shows you how these riders from the eastern countries are beginning to show strongly at the top of international cycle racing, as Pietro Ugrimov coming up to try and take the time away from Kasputis, the third place spot. Is he going to do it? Burying himself on the line. He's just about on the same time, so no, he's dropped into a fourth spot, so the Lithuanian is still ahead of the Latvian.
Ugrimov has done a very, very good last final 10 kilometres, because the 10 kilometres to go, Ugrimov was 48 seconds down on Thierry Mari. So maybe Chris Bourman could have a surprise going from Chris, because Chris was only 23 seconds down on Thierry Mari with 10 kilometres to go. So Chris seems to be finishing relatively fast then.
Indurain flying along, the sun beating down. We're in the Dordogne area of France, with three great rivers meandering lazily past the wooded banks, and there's some lovely undulating hills, some fairy tale chateau here as well. But a fairy tale battle we've got going on here between two riders, Rominger and Indurain. Indurain on the left-hand side of the screen, Rominger on the right-hand side of the screen, going for the yellow jersey today. They started this morning in terms of time gap between them. Indurain was 30 seconds down on Mazzeo, whereas Rominger was 58 seconds down. So already Rominger started this morning with a deficit of some 28 seconds on Indurain. And the last time check we had on our screen, he was 1 minute 24 down on the great man himself at 29.8 kilometres. So as long as Indurain can hang on to this sort of performance of power, then he should be in yellow by the time he gets to the finish after 64 kilometres, 40 miles of racing.
I must have hoped that the gap between Rominger and Indurain would have been a lot less, because it kind of gives Indurain a much better advantage than going into the mountains, because he knows that in this time he's putting 2 or 3 minutes into Rominger. There's still another time trial in the mountains in 10 days' time, then another time trial before going to Paris in another 16 days' time. So I just hope that if Indurain does put 2 minutes into Rominger or more, maybe, that the race doesn't go dead, because Indurain will only have to watch then Rominger. So I just hope that the other riders don't get too demoralised by the performance of Indurain today.
Rominger, that lonely ride, having, I think, shaken off Thomas Davy now. The way that Indurain's going, he might well put himself up in the record books to the record number of victors in the Tour de France, because he certainly got his sights set, and he seems to be an impossible machine. He puts his whole season round this one race, and it looks like he's timed his return to form to absolute perfection. Braking, that's odd. He freewheeled, then went up to his gear change, and then back again. That was odd, wasn't it? He didn't seem to click the thing down. There's no rhyme or reason to just stop pedalling then. Perhaps he's having trouble with his gear mech.
Yeah, but Indurain, he has a habit of when he gets out the pedal, out of the saddle, he pedals a little bit, and he sits in the pedal and freewheels. It's like most riders have a small little habit of doing certain things, whereas Indurain, before he gets back into the saddle again, he always freewheels into it. It's just a trick he has, you know. What's
it like to ride alongside or be behind Stephen? You know, some riders have a particular way of riding. He seems to me to be always so smooth and sort of calm and calculated.
He is. Like I myself, I'm not a big guy. I was always very much shadowed behind Indurain, but unfortunately Indurain kind of came at the end of my good days. So even though I had a chance of riding with Indurain, he was always a very calculated rider, and but of course a rider he must respect because of what he's done.
He always seemed to ride the hills to it at a pace like about just a little notch below blowing, but able to just keep going all the time at a constant speed and making it, I wouldn't say looked effortless, but a lot of other riders jump around, accelerate and slot back. He seemed to be the most meticulous when it came to climbing.
But one of the reasons Indurain has lasted so well in the time trial and the Tours now is the fact that there's no real climbers that there was years ago. Like even years ago, I mean, like even in my generation, there was Delgado, who was an incredible climber, and also Lucio Herrera, who was a great climber. So when you're riding with those riders, they jump all over the place, and it's very difficult to hold them, whereas Indurain has had another generation now that riders ride at a good tempo, and Indurain can only ride at a tempo where even if it's very fast, it doesn't matter. But once the rider starts jumping around, he's under pressure straight away. So but at this moment, the generation of riders we have today, they're not riders that jump around, so he's lucky really.
Well, the French and the Italians and the Spanish have dominated cycle racing for many years, but here's one from Uzbekistan. We just saw Abdul Jafarov down the road, and now Chris Bourman coming in to finish. Thierry Marie's time 1:20.43 to beat. He certainly closed up on him. Bourman's gone faster towards the end now, but is he going to get that time? The fastest one Thierry Marie so far? No, he's just going to miss it, but he's going to be also close for Chris Bourman. He's come good towards the back end of the time trial today, and the crowd here rising to the man who wore the yellow jersey for 2 days in the Tour de France after that scintillating prologue time trial that he won in such convincing style at an average speed of 55 kilometres per hour. And now Chris Bourman, who's racing like he's never raced before, doing a great job for his team Gann, doing a great job for Great Britain. And Chris Bourman coming up here to finish, looks like he's going to have to battle for second place. Bjorn Riis 1:21.32 to beat, and he should get this one. Chris Bourman, our record holder in Bordeaux just over 12 months ago. Now the crowd here cheering him all the way down the line. Rise to the French Gann team, so they know what a character this fellow is. Comes across the line in second place, 1 hour 21 minutes and 25 seconds. Chris Bourman in second place behind Thierry Marie, but out on the road some very, very fast riders yet to come. This is an amazing time trial in the Tour de France. The speed at which Indurain is going, punching minutes out of all his contestants, and to think that Rominger now has caught a rider for 10 minutes in just 40 miles, and all these riders we are in amongst now, the top of the pile, we're at the back end of the race, and Rominger then swinging around here, looks like he's going to take the lead convincingly. They can see him down the finishing straight. Thierry Marie 1:20.43 to beat. There's no doubt about it, Rominger's going to get this one and rest as the victor until Indurain sweeps into sight, providing Indurain doesn't have the man with a hammer hit him, and I can't see that. He's been riding so smoothly, so strongly, but Rominger, misfortune to have to change his bike, coming down to finish here for what looks like being a second place. But the big thing is, what will be the gap between himself and Indurain, because he's got a lot of work to do in the mountains. On general classification, he already started out this morning some 28 seconds adrift of Indurain, so now he's in the lead in the time trial, 1:17.58, but we know that Indurain is going nearly 2 minutes faster.
Indurain will be doing about a 1:16 or so, but you see Indurain now, he's 5 kilometres to go or thereabouts. He's done 60 kilometres so far, and look at the way the man is. Not even a move on his body, not even the slightest sign of fatigue or tiredness. He's just powering along. It's incredible.
Stephen is shaking his head here. I'll have to get my camera out and take pictures of how aghast he is at seeing this man riding, and he makes it look simple too, doesn't he? That top shot of him, chop, 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 and he's going along here then at what have we got, something like about 49 kilometres an hour, and that's 30 miles an hour, and it doesn't seem to be bothering him.
Well, the thing that impresses me is that normally after doing 60 odd kilometres, you start putting your head down, your head starts falling down, you start making zigzags a little bit, but Indurain has done 60 odd kilometres in this incredible heat. We must put emphasis on that heat, because I don't know what the temperature is exterior, but it's definitely an incredibly hot day. People sitting opposite us here in the tribunes, they all have umbrellas up to keep the heat away, because it's so hot here. And Indurain, after 60 odd kilometres, driving along as if he'd been down to the shop for posting letter.
Thomas Davey had the advantage of being caught by Rominger. Now looks like he's going to head Bourman in, and certainly he was chasing hard after Rominger. That must have given him some incentive to ride himself, but it doesn't look like he's going to get Bourman off the third spot. No, he's gone down into fourth, just ahead of Bjorn Riis, as Ralph Oldag crosses the line as well, and there Thomas Davey takes fourth place, equal with Bjorn Riis.
Indurain is coming at now about 2 kilometres to go. We don't see anybody else on the road, but probably because Indurain is the only one that counts now, that when you see the gaps which are forming in the front.
Well, he's caught Armstrong, and he's caught Dallas Krause at 4 minutes, and Rominger was the man in front of that, so he's got a clear run into the finish now. Nobody else to catch.
He has, yeah, but an unfortunate thing is that if Indurain takes so much out of the riders, a lot of riders would say, well, the Tour de France is finished again now, we're riding for second place, and that will take a bit of sting out of the race. So I only hope that tomorrow now sees more attacking, and people don't kind of say, well, okay, Mikel has won again, he's given the winners' medal tomorrow, I hope that they keep attacking, and there's still an awful lot of territory to come. And Indurain, even if he cannot be beating himself in time trials, you must remember he hasn't got the likes of Delgado on his team this year. He hasn't got Jean-François Bernard going too well. He hasn't got Gerard Rouet going too well either. So he hasn't got a team he had with him last year or in previous years, especially weaker than previous years. So if he can't beat the man himself, then just trying to attack him one after the other, weaken his team, try and isolate him, and try and get time back in the mountains, because he definitely won't get it back in time trials.
And Indurain's setting into what I think is his 26th or 27th victory in time trials at a massive level of senior competition since he turned pro and has won the Tour de l'Avenir time trial in 1985. He's just an absolute master of time trialing, and as we watch Montgomery coming in now, we're waiting then to see Indurain come into sight. Indurain, who won his first
look how fresh
time
he is.
trial in the Tour de France way back in 1991 from Argenton-Alais on 73 kilometres when he beat Le Monde by just 8 seconds. Now he's...
Look how fresh he is, Dave. Like, the other guys come in here, they were pushing the bikes. He's throwing it around as if he's only starting off. He knows he's ahead. Look at the man. He wants to get as much time he can out of Rominger before he gets to the line. He knows he's ahead of him, but still he's trying.
Rominger then looks down on the finishing line to see Indurain coming up, and the clock above the finish line shows that Rominger's won 17:58. He's going to be soundly beaten by Indurain doing 1:15:58, 2 minutes ahead of Tony Rominger. This morning he had another cushion of some 28 seconds as well, so now he's 2:28 ahead in the Tour de France, taking the yellow jersey. But I remember, Stephen, in the Tour when he wasn't quite on form, that once they started to attack him in the mountains, then he was shown that he wasn't that infallible. He's coming now to the scrum of people. He's ridden himself absolutely into oblivion. What a marvellous man. He just goes through. We're watching him then go round the back of the caravan here. You can see the scrum on your pictures there, the yellow Credit Lyonnais nice presentation podium. He's just gone around the back of that there, hotly pursued by lots of the press who've been blocked off from going in, because he just needs to recover and to get his breath back and then come up and take not only the victor's jersey for the stage, but the yellow jersey as the leader in the Tour de France. He did exactly the same thing last year, and there is his time, 1:15:58, 2 minutes faster than Rominger, 4:45 ahead of Marie. Bourman in 4th place. That was a cracking ride for Chris. De Las Cuevas then, what's happened to him? Because he's not come in yet. Where's De Las Cuevas?
4:22.
Well, in that case, he's not finished yet, has he? So De Las Cuevas, we're all concentrating, and De Las Cuevas here, they're going to have to do an action replay of him down here. De Las Cuevas will certainly come in ahead of Marie and Bourman, and I'll have to recorrect that time there because he's coming in on a slow motion action replay. De Las Cuevas then moving up into 3rd spot, Marie 4th and Bourman in 5th.
When you see Mikel Indurain on the screen, then you see the other riders on the screen, you get the impression that even Rominger was on slow motion today, losing 2 minutes to Indurain. I'm a little disappointed myself because I have a lot of faith in Tommy. He's a good friend and he's a Mai Tanner kind of rider. He's a very attacking rider, and I only hope now tonight he's not going to be too demoralised and goes out there in the next couple of days and shows Mikel that, okay, to beat me in the time trials, I can beat you in the mountains.
Well, we've got a relatively flat stage tomorrow as we go then from Bergerac to Cahors, and then we move into mountains the day after that. Then Indurain has won the... Three rivers of the Dordogne, the Lot and the Tarn. Restful water here, but out on the road, the crowd have been cooking, and the man who's been burning up the road is Miguel Indurain. Left them all sizzling in his wake, no doubt about it, in the sunshine today, which wilted the opposition. Miguel Indurain, the Spaniard, absolutely hammered the rest of the field into oblivion to put in a phenomenal time, which has taken him into lead in the Tour de France by 2 minutes from Tony Rominger. When they add in the 28 seconds that the deficit was this morning, it'd be 2:28. But Indurain winning the time trial, 1:15:58. and that is just some performance. A man that everybody started to write off after his dismal tour of Italy performance, but no doubt about it, he's come back with a bang in the race that he really specialises in, the one he wants the most to win. And sometimes I wonder, Stephen, when he used to ride so hard for Delgado, perhaps even earlier he could have won the Tour de France, but he was a selfish a teammate. He always went out on. He didn't in any way try to impose himself, and he helped Delgado enormously when perhaps he had the strength to go ahead in an unselfish way.
But every rider has their own phase they must go through, whereas if Indurain hadn't gone through that phase, being at a young age, maybe he might have been burned out too early. So it was better that Delgado was there for him, so that he was able to kind of Delgado was able to take the pressure off him, and he was able to mature normally. So I think that Indurain now will be very strong today. You can also say thank you to Delgado, the same as Delgado said thank you to him during the early Tour de France that Delgado won.
Lance Armstrong coming in just outside the top 10, the world champion receiving a round of applause, because he again, a young rider with enormous potential, but his big frame and his particular style of riding not suited towards time trialing or climbing mountains, but won a stage last year in the Tour de France before we got the rest day and he retired from the race. That did him so good, he went on to win the World Championship in Oslo, finishing 1:22.21 in 12th spot.
Which is a reasonable time for Lance Armstrong, who is normally basically a classic rider. So there's nothing to be ashamed of, like to finishing 6 minutes down on Mikel Indurain when it's to the conditions that we have here today.
Bortolami, yes, who went in this morning 5 seconds down on Johan Mazzeo over on general classification. He's not been featuring on our leaderboard, so he's had to ride this one round, last but one off, and Mazzeo last off 2 minutes back, and they will know that Indurain, from the time checks they'll have had, was a man who's going to take that yellow jersey in no uncertain term. That these were the last two riders to finish, Bortolami and Mazzeo. We actually haven't seen Sean Yates come down the finishing straight yet, and Abdul Jafarov, Andro, Vanzella, Yates, Bortolami, Mazzeo all have yet to come into the finish. But as far as everybody's concerned, yeah, the race is over, the yellow jersey's there, and that's it. So I feel sorry for the lads still coming in. It seems that this sort of all the gloss has gone off the race.
Well, we saw earlier on the coaches, the Romingers, the Indurains coming in with cars and motorbikes and press people hanging out everywhere. Whereas now we see these poor riders coming in who have animated the race for the last week since we started in Lille 8 days ago, and you get a kind of feeling, well, no one, who cares? I'm sure the public here who are standing here opposite us waiting for riders to come in don't know how many riders are still to come in, and probably haven't even realised that the yellow jersey, Johan Muschio, has not come in yet, because they see Mikel Indurain coming in and feeling the race is over. So it's very frustrating for the people sitting opposite as well.
Well, Indurain at this stage of the race always hovers around about the top 10 place. He did the same thing last year to take the yellow jersey off Mazzeo, when Mazzeo, Nellison and Cipollini had all had a shot at taking it in the flatter stage of the race. And after we finish the stage today, then we've got another flattish stage, the one from Bergerac off to Cahors, and that will be coming 160 kilometres. Then on Wednesday we do the Cahors-Lourdes-Hautecam stage, where it goes up to finish 1,560 metres above sea level, and then the stage on Thursday, Lourdes to Lutz-Ardiden. Again, it's another finish up a mountain, 1,715 metres above sea level. So tomorrow will be a day when the sprinters and hard roadmen will look to try and get themselves a bit of glory before the mountain climbers come into their own, and perhaps we can see if Indurain will crack in the mountains, and if Rominger is the man who can make him crack. So there's a lot more racing coming up on Eurosport. As you know, we're bringing you the live action every afternoon. I'm very happy to have my co-commentator here, Stephen Roche, and he has been providing us with the most invaluable information about how these riders react to certain parts of the course and what it's like to be out there riding at this level of competition. And on Eurosport we bring you the race not only every afternoon, but a highlight program in the evening and a highlight program next morning most times as well. So you're seeing the best action on Eurosport, and this again a great Tour de France. But the trouble is, when Indurain comes along and takes charge like that, it begins to have people racing for second place, and a lot of people say, well, the Tour de France is finished. Let's hope, Stephen, that he can be attacked in the mountains, and we're certainly going to see some different stage victories. But a nice battle will be going on behind, as we saw last week, between Rominger and Indurain. Rominger must be disappointed that the gap isn't closer as they go into mountains.
I'm sure he'll be very, very disappointed, but Rominger is a very intelligent rider. He'll be looking around him now and seeing that Indurain's team is not as strong as it was last year. If you remember in last year's Tour de France, everywhere Indurain went. He had Gerard Ruiz with him, he had Pedro Delgado with him, he had Jean-François Bernard, so he was never really on his own, so he always had someone to count on. Whereas this year his team on the paper looks strong. When you see Michel Mauri, you see Bernard, you see Ruiz, looks very strong, but when you see that Mauri is not going too good, you see Bernard is not going too good, and he has also internal political problems in the team, as Bernard wants to lead the team next year, and they also have Gerard Ruiz with a bad crash in the early part of Tour de France, not going so well. Maybe Indurain will be isolated in the mountains, and that's the only card now that Rominger can play. He can hope that the teammates of Indurain are tired and he can isolate Indurain, because Rominger's team is definitely a better mountain team than Indurain, so he possibly should hope that to isolate Indurain in the mountains and try and attack him. But like, if Indurain only has to watch Rominger, well then it makes his job much more easier.
Abdul Jaffar a fine 14th place. That's a good ride for a man who doesn't like time trialing. Very good there for Abdul Jaffar. We just saw him come in the green jersey in this time trial today, so keep that jersey on his shoulders. He's a superb, courageous rider, and he also is prepared to get stuck in the mountains as well. But disappointment here for Jan Mazou, not unexpectedly losing that yellow jersey. Just the enormity of the loss, I think, which will surprise him when he gets in, just to see what the gap is. And as for the Mapei class team, Tony Rominger has got with him Federico Xavi, Nico Amons, who's gone very well today in the race. Amons, in fact, was leading for an awful long time, so just shows the strength of the Mapei class team. Fernando Escatin, Arseno Gonzalez, Jorge Muller, Abram Molano, who's the new champion of Spain, and Jon Anzaga. And quite a lot of those are extremely good climbers, particularly like a Xavi, who's won stage in the Tour in the past. It looks like he's got a better climbing team than Indurain has got.
As I was saying earlier on, his team is much stronger than that one of the team of Indurain for the mountains. Indurain's team looks strong on the paper with Mauri and Bernard and everybody else, but I'm sure and I hope that Rominger's team is stronger in the mountains. But the only thing is, if Indurain sits in Rominger's wheel all day, it's difficult for Rominger to get away from him, because you need a third person or a fourth person to kind of make the tactics work, because if Indurain knows that Rominger is his nearest rival and the man that's going to be doing all the damage in the mountains, that if Indurain sits on his wheel, well, it'll be difficult for Rominger to get away, as you saw in last year's Tour de France, when every time Rominger attacked, Indurain was not very far away. So I hope this year there'll be guys like the Butchies and the Pantanis and the Bunyo, if he finds a bit of form, or these other guys will get away and try and go for a long break here and there and make Indurain suffer a little bit and make him ride in the front a little bit, because everybody is saying here now at the moment that Indurain is a great rider, 3 wins in Tour de France, but you know, he's won them all in time trials. He hasn't done anything else. He hasn't ever attacked in the mountains. Nobody's ever put him under difficulty in the mountains. So now we want to see something else from Indurain.
Well, that's in the Tour de France. He's always come right at the same time. But I was saying earlier, Stephen, I have seen him twice in the Tour of Italy, founder, begin to struggle a little bit. But of course, that's like 3-4 weeks back. He seems to be able to time his form almost to perfection, doesn't he? I mean, the Tour of Italy last year, he cracked, and I thought, that's it, he won't go so strong in the Tour de France, and bang, he annihilated everybody. Last year, this year, he got wiped out in the Tour of Italy. I can use the word wiped out. He was really struggling against Bourman and the weight of the Italian teams, but he rode his own race, he rode through, and he's come back in this one. He seems to be able to just, like setting a clock to know exactly when his form comes. It's on the, sometime during the Tour de France. It may not have been on day one, but it seems to come this time of the year at this event.
Well, it's also a question of motivation. Like, everybody knows that the Tour de France is the biggest race, better than the Giro, better than the Tour of Spain, and everybody wants to click here. But also, it would have been very interesting to see if Berzin had been here, because the Rominger wasn't in the Tour of Italy, Ugrimov wasn't going well in the Tour of Italy, so he's no real rider to compare himself off. I mean, any rider that ridden Road Tour of Italy that was going well is not here, so it's difficult to know, is Indurain going better than he was in the Tour of Italy, or are the other riders riding normal? And Berzin, then, not being here, was actually a stronger rider in the Tour of Italy. If he was here, would he have beaten Indurain? Nobody knows, and we must wait now till next year to find out.
Well, what I liked in the Tour of Italy, Steve, was that on the mountains you've got these people really attacking, and he didn't seem to be able to hold that sort of jump, 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 and they kept going like that. And Bourman was very good at fast acceleration, and a lot of other riders doing the same thing. He may not have been quite so fit, but he didn't seem to be able to react quite so fast to that sort of thing. We saw Rominger in fact last year get away on the top of some of the climbs from Indurain, but on the way down the other side, because Indurain, the big fella, there's such long descents here in the Tour, he gets back again, doesn't he? But we've got 2 mountain top finishes this week coming, so that is going to be something different. That's probably the best time to attack on those final mountain top climb finishes, isn't it?
It is, but Rominger is a very nervous kind of a rider. He does jump away, but the problem is, until he gets the gap, Indurain will always stay on his wheel. And the Italian riders that were in the Tour of Italy, it's true to say, they do jump around. Indurain doesn't like that kind of a ride. Even when he is on his form, he can't take it. So we saw him a couple of years ago in the stage of the Sestriere when Capucci won after being out there for 180 kilometres on his own. Indurain took off with 40 kilometres to go, did 20 kilometres on his own, and then blew a gasket and lost another 2 minutes to Capucci on the final hill of the Sestriere. So the best thing is to put Indurain under pressure and then see what it's like in the mountains. But until then, you can't really know. No one knows how he's going.
Sean Yates coming in to finish. He was last but 2 on the road. Bortolami and Mazet were behind him, so we've just got 2 more riders to come in to finish this time trial stage 9 in the Tour de France. Sean Yates, who took that yellow jersey, now swinging into the finishing straight, doing quite a respectable ride as far as he's concerned. And Sean, very powerful time trials, but it just shows you the difference here. Sean Yates will be around about 1:22 and a bit against Indurain's 1:15.58. So Sean some 6 minutes slower, but that's no disgrace at all. He's ridden a very good ride because he's ahead of so many people in this race. We had 176 starters, so Sean Yates comes down here. There's still 160 odd blokes who've done this ride slower than him, and Sean Yates just comes in, looks like he's going to be just ahead of Abdul Jafarov in 13th spot.
The surprising part is in the Tour de France so far is that they've only done 8 days. There's already many abandons, 20 odd abandons or eliminations because of crashes, because of illness or whatever. It's one thing which has surprised me enormously. But what's it going to be like when we get to the mountains, when it starts going up, and the weather, and also the fact that they'll already have been 10 days on the road with the transfers, with the heat and the really very, very, very high temperatures. It'll be interesting to see what happens to some of the riders then.
Frankie Andrew, who've been well up in the general classifications by virtue of the Motorola strong team time trial, just been caught by 4 minutes for Sean Yates, both of them from Motorola as such. As Bortolami comes in, is the man who got himself 20 seconds extra bonus when we had the stage into Rennes, and that's what put him very close to the yellow jersey that went on the shoulders of Sean Yates. Bortolami here, that's a very good time trial for the Mapei class, which shows they've got strength in depth here, because I wouldn't have put Bortolami in as being an extremely fast time trial, but he's going to find himself in that top 10, and that's another good omen, I think, for Mapei class, that they got some strength in depth here, as Bortolami just outside the top 10, and only 1 second away from the yellow jersey at Rennes, takes 11 spots, 1 hour 22 and 10.
Just behind his teammate Nico Edmonds, who is a very good rider also. He's getting older, but he's very good on the flat, very good team rider. But the important thing is to see that the Malpais class riders are all up in the front. We were saying earlier on that he will be very good in the mountains, but the results here in time trials today confirm that Tony Rominger's team are a better team at the moment, and hopefully they will help him enough anyway in the mountains to shake off Indurain.
And the yellow jersey, last man on the road, last man to finish, and will lose the jersey. It's already gone. There's no way that he could do any more than look back at the memories of having a yellow jersey yet again. He did it last year in the sprint series of the race. That's what he came in the race to do. That's what he succeeded in doing. Johan Mazet of the GBMG team will now have to concentrate on getting some stage victories with a very strong team that does just that. So many teams come into the race looking for a success here or there. King of the Mountains award perhaps, a stage victory perhaps, an overall victory perhaps, but this one, his team certainly knew they had one job to do, that was get Mazet in yellow. They did it in fine form, but when it came to the time trial he couldn't quite. There's Jean-Marie Blanc, we can see him picked out in the wing mirror of the motorcycle, the man who is the main director of this race. He was very pleased indeed with the way the British public took the Tour to its heart, and I'm sure that right now he will just be wondering whether the Tour is over this year, and everybody likes to see a cliffhanger finish, and I certainly can't remember one like that time when Greg LeMond beat Laurent Fignon in a time trial, but just 8 seconds into the Champs-Élysées. That was one of the closest things I've ever seen in my life. And now let's hope that gap on Indurain will also come down, but it won't be a time trial that will do it. It'll have to be in the mountains, because Indurain has shown that he's head and shoulders, and that's just not because he's 6'2", but he's head and shoulders above everybody else by his sheer ability to ride a bike against the watch on his own and to just beat everybody out of sight. 2-minute beating of Rominger today, and he's taken the yellow jersey of Johan Mazou, who's still done quite a respectable ride here, Stephen. That's not all that bad, is it?
No, Monsieur is doing a good ride, but you can see he kind of, I wouldn't say took it easy, but he tried to calculate for the whole time, for not to lose too much time, but not to use too much energy either, because he will be needing his energy in the next couple of days to try and get a stage win.
Fabio Vanzella was the man who also took the yellow jersey in the GBGMG team. You see, that's the time that he's closest now to that of Johan Mazou. Vanzella, who took the jersey on the stage into Brighton after he got away on the final run-in over Ditchling Beacon. He didn't win the stage. The Caballero won that one, but he took the yellow jersey from Johan Mazou. Mazou got it back eventually. Kulnikov then being pushed down by Mazou to 19th spot. It's all over then. That's the final man across the line in this Tour de France. So Mazou has lost the jersey to Miguel Indurain. In the background, the town of Bergerac, where today's time trial stage has finished with a resounding victory then for Miguel Indurain, with that phenomenal time that he put up there to absolutely trounce the opposition. To think that you can do 40 miles in just over an hour and a quarter, it's absolutely mind-blowing. And so many top men were battling, but they're all wedged together, battling for second, third and fourth spots. Bergerac in the background there, well known for its wine, and the local produce in this neck of the woods have some beautiful, beautiful food. And tonight then I'm sure there'll be some happy celebrations in the Banesto camp down here in the Dordogne. The rivers of the Lot and the Tarn and the Dordogne, nice tranquil part of the world, and I've seen some canoes out on the side of the river, and I think that's a nice little idea to go and leap into the hotel swimming pool tonight or something, because it's very, very hot and sweaty. Apologise from time to time, we've had a bit of difficulty seeing our screen with the sun beating down. It's been something around about 26, 27 degrees of heat, and all the riders will be exhausted by the activity today. The sweat's been pouring off them as they come across the line. They will go back to their hotels for massage, rest and relaxation, and plenty of liquid intake as well. So this is the first of the ceremonies we're going to see on the rostrum here. Miguel Indurain winning, well, I think it's the 26th or 27th time trial, and collecting the flowers of victory from the Coca-Cola girls for his stage success today. Miguel Indurain, winner of the time trial. No wonder he's smiling. He's got another victory under his belt. Phenomenal number of time trial successes in the Tour de France.
He's had time to recover now since he arrived. He waited some 12 minutes or so since until Lucio came in, so he had time to recover and look at the general classification and see where Rominger was, where the Les Griffiths was, Shirley Murray and Bourman. Rominger and Les Griffiths being his arch rivals. I'm sure he can be happy now, so giving him something to smile about.
Well, he looked exhausted when he came across the line as he freewheeled round the corner by us here at the commentary point. You can see the effort etched all over his face, perspiration streaming down, but now he's had time for a sponge down, and the knowledge then that that time of 1 hour, 15 minutes and 58 seconds was going to take him into the yellow jersey. He now leads in the Tour de France by no less than 2 minutes 28 seconds from Tony Rominger, and De La Cueva's back in 4:40. So we've seen Miguel Indurain do what he knows best, that's do the time trial and take the yellow jersey in convincing style. So from Stephen Roche and myself, David Duffield, on the Tour de France, bye-bye to you all.